Retirement done right. What does that involve? So if we try to just keep it simple, big picture, what do we think about when we think of retirement? We think about security, guaranteed retirement income, because when you retire, you need to live on something when you retire. So that's Social Security for most of you, a pension, and then maybe if there's not enough from those two sources, and if you're looking for secure income, possibly an annuity makes sense, depending on your situation. Then, of course, there is insurance. There's the Medicare that almost everybody has, and we have health insurance, long-term care insurance, life insurance. And then when we think about retirement and a pension, they're great, but there's also inflation, and that can really erode away at your income during retirement. So an investment portfolio really rounds out that strategy, which will help you keep up with inflation if your pension does not. So let's start off with Social Security, a surprisingly complex topic, thinking that it should be pretty simple. So, when can you file? Minimum filing age is 72. Full retirement age is 66, 67, between the two, depending on when you were born. And a maximum age to file is at 70, where you get 132% of your benefit at that point. But a full retirement amount is you get between age 66 and 67. Cost of living adjustment. Since 1975, an average of 3.69%. The last 20 years is 2.15% because inflation was lower. Was is the critical operative word there. 2024, it was a 3.2% increase. How does the government pay for Social Security? The FICA tax, they take about 7.5% of your income, and that goes towards your Social Security and Medicare. So up to $168,600 per person of your income goes towards funding Social Security. 2024 maximum full retirement amount for an individual Social Security is $3,822. Average benefit for a married couple is $3,102. And for a single individual is $1,907. How do you get Social Security? You have to have a minimum of 40 credits. And one credit equals 1/4 of the year of work, making at least $1,640, or about $6,560 per year. How is Social Security taxed? So if you're single, the first $25,000, so if your income overall, including Social Security, is less than $25,000, and for married filing jointly less than $32,000, you don't get taxed on your Social Security. If it's above $25,000 but below $34,000 for single, and above $32,000 but below $44,000 for married, 50% of your Social Security is taxed. And above $34,000 for singles, and for married filing jointly above $44,000, 85% of your Social Security income is taxed. So let's take a look at when should you take Social Security, because that's a big question. Really nice to get that nice juicy benefit as soon as you can at 62, but does it make sense? So life expectancy is a big factor, right? Because obviously if you think that you're going to pass away in your early 70s, there's no reason to wait until age 70 to take your Social Security. Now, if you have a lot of longevity in your family and everybody lives into their 90s, obviously you may want to wait longer and have that benefit grow. So then you have to start thinking about what is the life expectancy. So you have to think about at your age, not in general, because usually you hear life expectancy somewhere around 76 years old in the US, 76.8. Okay, so that's correct, but that's not for any of us in this room. And that's because this 76.8 is for somebody that's born today. For the folks in this room, it's closer to this. So for an average 66-year-old, life expectancy is, for a male, it's 86, and for a female, it's 92. So you have to take that into account when you're planning. Health. Well, it's kind of obvious with health, where obviously if you have health issues, unfortunately, then you may want to live it up a little bit and take that Social Security as soon as you can and enjoy it a little bit. If you're very healthy, you think, again, longevity, then you may want to hold off and get that extra 8% per year growth for the rest of your, until you start taking it at age 7. Marital status. There's different strategies based on if you're married, single, divorced, or survivor. Employment status. Those receiving Social Security prior to retirement age and earning more than the earnings limit have their benefits partially withheld. So if you start taking Social Security early and then you still work, you're not going to get that benefit. The government's just going to take it back and give it to you after full retirement age. Yes?
I get the feeling you don't have questions for your presentation, right?
Well, it's okay sometimes to throw a question in. I'm glad to answer it, but it's not going to be as individualized as if you ask later. But go ahead. What's your question?
Sure, and I want to interrupt. Real quick question. I'm going to be 70 on July 9th. I just re-entered the workforce where most people my age are retired.
Sure.
And I've gotten to that maximum now.
You love to work. You're just a hardworking individual.
Yeah, we got very lucky actually. I got a job as a journalist, so at my age. So how does that impact my social security?
It won't impact you. It won't impact you because you won't. The government won't withhold your Social Security because you're past age 67. So you can make $1 million a year, and you still will keep all of your Social Security.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, you're fine.
Thanks.
So now, if you look at life expectancy again, this is very important for all of the different topics we'll be talking about today because you don't want to run out of money at 92. That's a bad age to run out of money. So 5% of men live to age 100. 5% of women live to age 102. 25% of men live to age 94. It doesn't seem like that many men live to 94, but they actually do. 25% of women live to age 96. 50% of men live to age 89, and 50% of women live to age 90. That's a lot of people living into their 90s. How long will you live? Yeah, males 86. And so this is 25% chance. This is just another way of looking at the same data. So for a male, 50% chance you're going to live to 86, 25% chance live to age 92. And either partner, so if you're planning for a couple where you have joint income, let's say in an annuity or a pension, 25% chance one of you is going to live till 96. One of you is, and 50% chance one of you is going to live till 92. Just think about that. You're basically, everybody in this room is basically just kind of, still has half their life left, to live. So just think about those numbers. So what is full retirement age? So full retirement age is different for everyone, and when you get your Social Security statement online, if you've logged in, it shows you what your full retirement age is, but it depends on when you were born. So if you were born in 57, let's say somewhere around there is for most people in this room, that's 66 years and 6 months. Born in 58, 66 and 8 months. And then if you're claiming your Social Security at age 62, your benefit is reduced to this amount. So it's reduced slightly differently. If you're the youngest, you get 70% of your benefit if you claim early. If claiming at age 70, your benefit is increased by 124%. So you see, or to 124% of the full retirement age benefit. Married couples split strategy. So if you're married and you both are qualified for Social Security, here's a way that you can kind of work the system, so to speak, a little bit, and get a nice, comfortable income for a longer period of time. So this is where the younger and lower earner may want to start their benefit at age 62, and the higher earner may want to wait until age 70. So let's say you have a Kathy and her benefit is $700. That's her full retirement age benefit. That's $700. Their full retirement age is 66. We have Sam, whose full retirement benefit is $2,400. And so Kathy starts taking her benefit at age 62. And now the family is receiving $525 a month. You see her benefit is reduced from $700 to $525. Sam is waiting. They get to Sam's age 70, and his benefit now is not $2,400, but it's $3,168 because he waited all the way until age 70. At that point, Kathy can switch to her full retirement age. Well, not to her full retirement age. She switches to the spousal benefit, which is half of Sam's benefit. Okay? At that point, because now that Sam has turned on his Social Security benefit, Kathy can now start taking her spousal benefit, which is bigger than her own benefit in this case. And so now you have a much higher increased benefit for both of them combined. Now here's the key. I think this is one of the most important points that I'll keep making through this seminar. Sam passes away. Kathy is left with a benefit of $3,168. Okay? So when one person in a couple passes away, the person who is left living gets the bigger benefit. Now imagine if we had Sam, he did not wait until age 70, and they both started their Social Security income at age 62. And let's say his income would have been maybe $1,800. So now Kathy, let's say Sam passes away at age 75 or something, it's very unfortunate, and now Kathy would be left with what? A inflation-adjusted income of about, let's call it $1,800. But because Sam waited, Kathy is left with a not much more comfortable $3,168. Okay, so you wait. So usually the higher earner waits because they're thinking about the other spouse and what happens to them if the higher earner passes away. So it's almost like an insurance policy in a way when you wait. Married couples. Should the lower earner wait until age 70 or full retirement age? Okay, here's a nice chart. This is the higher earner, and the higher earner, as we just discussed, at full retirement age, let's say it's 66 for this person. They can get 100% of their benefit at full retirement age, or they can get the discounted, the earlier they start, the more of a discount, or again, they can wait and have it grow. The spousal benefit. So let's say you had a person who worked at home raising the kids, and they qualify for a spousal benefit. When should they take their spousal benefit? So they qualify at full retirement age for a 50% of the spouse's full retirement age benefit. Okay? If they take it earlier, they will get a discount as well, as you can see in this chart. However, after full retirement age, their benefit does not go up any further. Okay? So it does not make sense for the spouse to wait past full retirement age to start their spousal benefit, because it doesn't grow anymore. Now, the key here is the higher earner. Until the higher earner takes their benefit, the spouse cannot begin their spousal benefit. Okay, so they have to wait. And they can only take the spousal benefit when the higher earner starts their benefit. And so that is kind of something that you have to keep in mind. Spousal benefit eligibility. Higher earner must have filed for their own benefit, just as we discussed. You have to be married for 1 year, which is surprisingly a short period. So if some of you are single out there may want to start There's some websites out there dating. It's not a bad idea. Make a little extra money. You have to be currently married. Have to be currently married. That's it. So that's not too tough to do here. Divorced Social Security benefit strategy. So what do we do for divorced? Eligibility. Must be single, formally, or officially single, meaning you're not married through the government. Both of you and ex-spouse must be at least age 62. Your marriage must have lasted for at least 10 years. Okay? Now this is a big one. If you know somebody in the family, this happens a lot where you'll have a spouse that was married and they had a horrible marriage, and like 9.5 years in they'll get divorced. And then later on they find out that they could have had this Social Security benefit and they could have qualified, but they got divorced right before that qualification. They find out about it, that they don't qualify when they're in their 60s. So if you know somebody that is getting close to that 10-year mark and they want to get out of this marriage that they're in, tell them to hold on for a few more months because it's worth it. You maybe live separately or something. Just wait until the 10-year mark to get divorced because there's a few extra dollars in it for them just in case. And your divorce must have been finalized at least 2 years ago. So the divorcee spouse can take their own benefit or 50% of the ex-spouse's benefit. Okay, Social Security strategy for widowers and survivors, or widowers survivors. So, how does this work? Survivor can start taking the survivor benefit at age 60 while letting their own benefit grow until age 70. Yep, so a little 2 years younger. You can't receive survivor's benefit if you were married before age 60. Okay? So, you get 100% of the benefit past age 66. And if you file at age 60, you get 70% of the benefit. And if you're disabled, you can start taking the benefit at age 50. Okay, so survivor benefits. This is a lot going on here in this chart. Current spouse versus former spouse. There's really a lot of similarities here. So in both cases, you can receive the benefit. If you're the current spouse, for instance here, married for 9 months is the requirement, with some exceptions. Obviously for a former spouse, as we discussed, you will have to have been married for 10 years. For a current spouse, you have to be currently unmarried, as we just discussed, and for a former spouse as well, currently unmarried, unless after age 60 or if you're disabled at age 50. Okay, now here is kind of a decision tree we're looking at. So, deceased did not file for benefits. So if you're a survivor and you're trying to figure out, well, what is going to be the amount of my benefit? So if the deceased spouse did not file for benefits and died before or after full retirement age, the deceased full retirement age benefit plus any credits for delayed filing is the benefit for the survivor. Deceased did file for benefits and filed on or after retirement age, the benefit amount deceased was receiving at death, adjusted for survivor's filing age, will be the amount you receive as a survivor. If you filed before retirement age, the deceased full retirement age benefit adjusted for survivor's filing age, but limited to a maximum of the actual benefit of the deceased or 82.5 of the deceased FRI benefit. I have to do something about this chart. There's a lot going on here and it's a lot of reading, but if you have the question, let me know. So, Social Security strategy for widower survivor of a disabled deceased spouse. We're trying to be very thorough here, so we don't have to go through this chart. Is anybody interested in this specific situation? Survivor of a disabled deceased spouse. Anybody that needs to know about this? Okay. Does working while receiving Social Security benefit increase future benefits?
No.
Maybe. Okay, that's a lame answer. So a better answer is yes, if your earnings exceeded one of the top 35 years adjusted for inflation used to calculate your Social Security benefit. So the way Social Security is calculated is they take last 35 years of your, or the highest 35 years of your work history, and average that out. And that's how you get to your Social Security benefit. So if you work for another year and it's a very high income, then it will bump off one of your lowest earning years, or if you have a zero there because you didn't have 35 years of history, then it does increase your benefit. Inflation. Now, we're going to keep talking about inflation at what seems like random places in this slide deck because it's important and it ruins everything. So, inflation, the hidden tax. Average cost of a loaf of bread in 2000 was $1.26, now it's $3.31. Movie ticket, $5.39, now it's $12.69. Now this is 2022 actually, so it's even worse now. Ground beef, we're looking at $2.46, now it's $4.43. So it affects all aspects of life. Why planning is so important. So we're going to be looking at a kind of a real life case here. So we have a Ron who is 60 and a Nancy that's 58. Their full retirement amount for Ron is $3,011 and for Nancy is $2,235. The life expectancy is 85 and 90, and they start their benefits at age 62, both of them. And if they live to their life expectancy, they will have collected $1,659,000 in Social Security benefits. Nice number. If both the same, Ron and Nancy, are a little bit more patient, they wait until their full retirement age of 67, and they take their benefits, they will have received $1,944,000. Okay, so another $300,000 or so. If they're really patient and they wait until age 70 and take their benefit, they will have received $2,126,000. So between starting at age 62 and age 70, you're looking at $467,000 difference, so $500,000. That seems like a lot of money. Well, it is a lot of money, but it keeps becoming less and less a lot of money because of inflation. We'll talk about that a little later. When to file for Social Security. So here's the break-even. At around age 76, that's when you break even. It doesn't matter when you filed, earlier or later. At age 72, so if you started, so the orange is if you started at age 62, you will have collected close to $200,000 worth of benefits because obviously you had 10 years of collecting benefits. If you started at age 66, it will have been, you will be catching up, but it's still less. If you start at age 70, obviously it's very low at age 72, you will have only collected for 2 years. But you can see at age 82, the patient person that starts at age 70 wins out, at least in nominal dollars, not adjusted for inflation. By age 92, again, you can see that's payments, the person who waited until age 70 really wins out because that much larger benefit adds up. Has anybody heard of the Big Mac inflation index? Probably not. Maybe. There you go. Yeah, it's a good thing. I'm glad somebody's heard of it. And here is why it's surprisingly accurate. And what is it? So, are the government numbers in terms of the inflation numbers underreporting inflation? So the CPI is the Consumer Price Index. Okay. And you'll see why this is important. So you have the Big Mac, and why does it reflect everything? Why is it so accurate in terms of the economy? Because it reflects everything. Commodities, you've got buns, you've got sesame seeds, you've got meat, you've got pickles, you've got labor, because you have to make the food, you have transportation costs, energy, real estate, because of the building where it's made, and so on. So if you take official inflation numbers, which are published by the government, the CPI, and you looked since 1993 up through about 2020, that's not even counting the last few years, and you took the original CPI estimate, the price of a Big Mac should be about $3.78 at this point, a 66% increase since 1993 by the official CPI. In reality, the price increase has been about 122% to about $5.06 at the making of this slide. Okay, so what do you see here? Official government numbers 66%, real numbers 122%. 66, 22, so about double. So about what you'd expect for kind of politics and politicians getting involved in how the CPI gets calculated. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the inflation adjustment, why am I talking about inflation? COLA, the cost of living adjustment that you get with your Social Security, when you wait longer, maybe it's not as beneficial. That 8% increase also per year when you wait. It's also not as beneficial as it looks at first. Because if you get an 8% higher payout for waiting longer to take Social Security, but then there was an 8% inflation that year, you pretty much kind of gave up that whole year's worth of gains. So the argument here is obviously for not waiting in this case. Filing before full retirement age and dealing with the Social Security earnings limit. Okay. If you file before your full retirement age, for everyone, it's between age 66 and 67, and your earned income, wages or net profit if self-employed, is above $22,320, which is very low, right, around here, to live on that. For every $2 over this limit, $1 will be withheld from the benefit. And in the year that you turn full retirement age, anything you make over $59,520, for every $3 over the limit, $1 will be withheld from the benefit. Now, the government doesn't just keep this money forever. They're adding it back into the bucket from which they calculate your Social Security benefit later. Yeah, so it's almost as if you start your Social Security early at age 62, and that entire period until your full retirement age, you just keep working, and the government just withholds your entire benefit the whole time, it's as if you filed at age 67, because they keep adding, you never took the benefit basically, because you made too much money the whole time. So the government will just keep adding those years and the 8% every year to the calculation. Yep.
Would you have been better off just to suspend your Social Security benefit?
Yes. Well, you would have it's better not just not take it. So if you know you're going to work, yeah, just don't apply for it because you make too much money, like nice, comfortable lifestyle. I mean, this is not enough for a comfortable lifestyle around here. I know that. So, and even close to that. So it's better just to not take it for a lot of folks. Not counted towards the earnings limit. Pensions, annuities, investment income, interest, veterans benefits, or other government or military retirement benefits. That's important, obviously, because those are often where the other income comes from. Take Social Security at age 62, invest what is not spent to supplement income later. So this is a strategy where some folks say, well, I'm a good investor, and I'm not going to let the government invest my Social Security savings. I'm going to invest it myself. Even though it's a lower benefit, I'll just save it, and then I'll invest it, and I'll see it grow. So the pros, again, is more control over your resources. You have the money, and it grows for you. The funds are in your pocket sooner. And you are avoiding potential for higher Medicare costs due to the IRMA tax, which is where you pay the higher premiums on your Medicare benefits. If you have a high income, you'll pay higher premiums on your Medicare benefits So what happens is you're being diligent, you're being good and saving for longer, and then you start taking your Social Security at age 70, and then the government then hits you with a higher tax rate, punishing you because you were trying to do the right thing and save for longer. So what I'm saying is this is a way to partially avoid that. Reduce the potential risk of the cost of living adjustment lacking real inflation, right? So this is what we discussed earlier with the Big Mac index. Cons. Requires discipline. So we all know somebody that, if they did this, if they started their benefit at 62 and they had this big grand plan of investing the money, and then they saw that nice Harley Davidson, or they saw that nice cruise that they could take online, they would probably use the money for that instead of being diligent and saving it for later. So that's the problem with the strategies. It requires discipline. You actually have to invest the funds and have them grow. And of course, the lower monthly Social Security check later in retirement has to be planned carefully, given many are still working and file for the full retirement amount, and file prior to the full retirement amount. You would have to pay, again, that earned income penalty where the government just takes the money back and gives it to you later anyway. Social Security buyback. What is it? So, let's say you started the benefit at 62, and now you would like to pay back Social Security and let it accrue. Okay, so let's say you don't like your boss, you just say, I want to retire early, but then your friend becomes boss when you retire, and then you want to go back to work, or whatever reason you may have. Well, there's a way to do that. Basically, and we just discussed the reasons. We actually had somebody in one of our seminars, she had an inheritance. So she retired, she started taking her Social Security, then she had an inheritance, and she wanted to let the Social Security grow. She didn't need the benefit. So, basically, what are the requirements? You can, if you're within 12 months of filing for your Social Security, before your full retirement age, you can give that money back to the government with no interest, and it will be like it never happened. It'll be like you never filed for Social Security, and it will just continue growing for you. And the only issue is if the timing of it, you might have to redo one of your tax returns if you filed when you were getting the benefit. So this is a strategy which can be deployed if you change your mind, because people may come to our seminar or something and they see, well, that spousal survivor benefit for my spouse is very important, and I want to wait now because if I pass away, then she'll be left with nothing or with a very low benefit if I start at 62. Social Security suspend. So this is different. You're not paying back, you're just suspending the benefit. So reasons to deploy this benefit: high earner took benefit before full retirement age and has now reached full retirement age and would like to grow the survivor benefit for a spouse. A recipient took a benefit prior to retirement age and now has a higher income and so would like to forego Social Security payments until age 70. Now this can only be done at full retirement age. So this cannot be done between age 62 and 66, let's say. This has to be done once you reach full retirement age. So here's an example. Let's say you have John. His full retirement amount benefit is $3,000. John started taking his Social Security at 62 and was receiving the reduced benefit of $2,250, or 75% of the benefit. So suspended the benefit at full retirement age 66 and restarted at age 70. So you have the $2,250 benefit times 1.32. That gets John back to $2,970. So it's almost as if he never started the benefit early anyway, because he got it back by suspending the benefit and letting it accrue those few years. So there's some flexibility in the system built in. Windfall elimination provision. Does anybody in this room have a government pension where it did not pay into the Social Security system? Because we don't need to discuss this if that is something like that, or anybody like that in here. It's fairly rare these days, so we won't discuss it. First, pension. Now, government employees usually know their pension system pretty well, so I won't go over a lot here, but we always have some some federal employees, and we have a lot of clients who are federal employees and former employees, so we'll go over it a little bit. So FERS retirees are eligible for FERS and for Social Security, not just one or the other. Years of service times annual average of highest 3-year salary times 1.1% is the calculation, depending on when you retire and how much you work. Sick leave gets added to pension calculation, but days fall off. So use sick days which don't add up to a month prior to retirement. So this is a big one. So if you've got like 70 days of sick leave built up, so those 60 of that will count towards the higher pension, but the last 10 you'll just lose. So I've heard of people getting really sick right prior to retirement for about 10 days, and making sure that they get their money's worth out of that extra 10 days that they've saved up. So retire December 31st to get unused annual leave as a lump sum. And pension starts on the first of the month following retirement. Therefore, retire at the end of the month. So if you retire July 2nd, and your benefit will start August 1st. If you retire July 30th, your benefit will still start August 1st. So just retire at the end of the month. And at least 6 months ahead of retirement, make sure your career documentation is up to date with Office OP, or Office of Personnel Management, Standard Form 50, Electronic Official Personnel folder.